You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Welcome to the Locked On Patriots podcast. We're a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate, and I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on Twitter, on the Bird app, on X, whatever you happen to be calling it these days, at MDABATENFL. And as long as you're showing some social media love to Locked On Patriots, please follow our account as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50-plus infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's JASE medical.com. And Pats fans, as always, thank you for joining me here today and for making us your first listen every day. And as always, a special shout out to all of you Locked On Everydayers out there, all of you Locked On loyalists that make Locked On Patriots possible. You take time out of your day to spend time with us here on the pod. I'm always honored and always humbled by your support. And week 1 is in the books. The Patriots have totally turned their attention to the Miami Dolphins and an 8:20 p.m. kickoff this Sunday night at Gillette Stadium. Throwback Sunday night as they welcome the Miami Dolphins to town, and the Patriots trying to get into the win column for the first time in 2023. And that is not going to be so easy, even though the Pat Patriot and the Red Throwbacks are going to be making an appearance. Patriots are a little banged up right now, and the injury report the last 2 days, folks, well, it just hasn't been pretty. There's no sugarcoating it. Trent Brown, City So, missed their second straight practice while in concussion protocol. Not looking good for either Trent or City to suit up in this game, and that's definitely a problem for the Patriots. You already have Michael Onwenu nursing the ankle injury. Cole Strange still trying to work his way back from the knee injury. David Andrews once again on the injured list. The New England Patriots offensive line is definitely banged up, but that may not be the most disturbing factor in the New England Patriots stable of injuries right now, because on Thursday, a name surfaced on the injury report that should raise some eyebrows. We're talking about the guy that mostly everyone in Patriots Nation right now expects to either contain or marginally disrupt speedy Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. And that man is cornerback Jonathan Jones. Jonathan listed with an ankle injury as a limited participant. He didn't miss practice, but this bears monitoring because anytime an athlete suddenly appears on an injury report when they weren't listed the day before, usually means that an injury happened during practice. Hopefully, Jonathan will be able to work it out and it won't be serious. But his practice participation on Friday and the status with which he's listed for the game is going to be very interesting and very telltale as to whether or not the New England Patriots are going to be able to use Jonathan to defend against Tyreek Hill. And unfortunately, he may be their best option. He may be their only option of hoping to contain Tyreek, because right now, as we talked about yesterday here on Locked On Patriots with Kyle Krebs from Locked On Dolphins in our crossover episode, Tyreek Hill is playing at a remarkably high level. If I'm being honest, he might just be the most difficult receiver to cover right now in the NFL. Had 11 catches for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns on Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers. And this guy is lightning with the ball in his hands and even playing away from the ball. But if you're the New England Patriots, you look at recent history, and all of a sudden it doesn't look so bad against Tyreek Hill. We all remember the October 2018 game where he torched the Patriots for 142 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. Since joining the Dolphins, Patriots haven't let Tyreek find the end zone. 2 games, week 1, week 17, 149 yards on 12 catches. And if we're talking about where Tyreek was at his best, it was definitely in week 1. 94 yards receiving, did it mostly against the Patriots' zone defense, although Jonathan did get some time covering him as well. In week 17, Patriots held him to only 55 yards, and they actually took a little bit of a different approach. Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill are two of the best in the game in terms of quarterback and receiver that can absolutely decimate single high coverage. Again, as Kyle and I talked about yesterday, the New England Patriots love single high coverage. The problem is, so do Tua and Tyreek. So if you're the New England Patriots, you don't really want to go that route this week. What you want to do is take a page out of what you did last year in week 17. If he's healthy, Jonathan Jones is still your best option to put on Tyreek. But what you also want to do is use some split safeties. The Patriots did that very well last year. And again, they held Tyreek to only 55 yards receiving. But even if you want to take the split safety approach, whether it be Kyle Duggar or whether it be Jalen Mills, maybe Adrian Phillips gets into the mix, Jabril Peppers would look nice in that alignment. The key element in being able to marginally disrupt Hill's rhythm is Jonathan Jones. Don't forget that since he took the reins in Miami and even back to his days in San Francisco, Mike McDaniel's scheme heavily relies on zone blocking, stretch runs, play action passes, and even a few naked bootlegs thrown in there. Jones is the only one in that secondary right now that has both the speed and the physicality to have any realistic attempt at slowing down Tyreek Hill. If he's not able to go, all of a sudden the Patriots now have to turn their attention to potentially Miles Bryant. Maybe Marcus Jones steps up and plays a little on the perimeter. Jalen Mills could step in and play corner. We know he played perimeter corner last year. Or the mission might be for the rookie, Christian Gonzalez, should he choose to accept it. Folks, any way you slice it, Jonathan Jones not being a part of this secondary on Sunday night is not a good thing for the New England Patriots. I would definitely keep a close eye on this one, and hopefully we'll see Jonathan suit up. If he doesn't, Patriots will be testing that next man up theory very prominently. It's going to take a big effort to slow down Tyreek Hill. And, oh yeah, by the way, Patriots still have to contend with a formidable running game, pretty good tight end in Durham Smythe. And, oh yeah, Jalen Waddle is also on this team as well, who is certainly no slouch, one of the best speed slot weapons in the NFL, and a guy that could even play a little perimeter if he wanted to. This is a high-powered offense, and the Patriots need all hands on deck, and hopefully a pair of those hands still belong to Jonathan Jones. So once again, folks, we'll continue to bring you the very latest on Friday and into the weekend regarding all the Patriots injury, whether it be the decimated O-line, because once again, all of these divisional games are going to add up, and they're so important if the Patriots want to try to contend for a divisional title this year. Yeah, that's right. I think the Patriots have as good a shot as anybody at making this interesting. The Buffalo Bills are currently 0-1. The New York Jets right now are vulnerable, and the Miami Dolphins probably playing with the most confidence of any team in this division right now. It's wide open, and if the Patriots can gain a victory on Sunday night, it's going to do them wonders, because next week they're going to be taking their talents to East Rutherford, New Jersey, and a matchup with the New York Jets, who have their own problems with contingency and injury right now. Aaron Rodgers done for the season with an Achilles tear. Now the Jets have to turn their control back over to Zach Wilson. Jets coach Robert Saleh confirmed that Wilson is going to be in the starting lineup throughout the year. I still would believe that even if they falter this weekend, he's probably still going to be the starter in week 3 when the Patriots visit the Jets. And again, it has implications for the Pats' pursuit of trying to contend for a division title. If Wilson is going to remain in the starting lineup, the Patriots are going to be facing him twice this year. And that's something that I know Patriots fans are going to be excited about, because let's face it, the New England Patriots have had Zach Wilson's number. Wilson has completed only 54 of 106 pass attempts for 693 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and has been sacked 11 times in 4 games. You want to talk about a team that has an ownership over the opposing quarterback? Yeah, it's the New England Patriots and Zach Wilson. So bottom line, injuries, whether it be to the quarterback, whether it be to your O-line, or whether it be to a cornerback like Jonathan Jones, can have a ripple effect and can have wide-reaching implications. It's important for the Patriots to try to get as healthy as possible, and hopefully they start this week against the Miami Dolphins. And here today to help us continue to take an early look at those Dolphins, as well as provide an in-depth look at some tight endage, is none other than the Empress of tight endage herself, ClazzyClare Cooper of A Clare Perspective, a Patriots podcast, and also PatsPropaganda.com. Going to drop by here in just a moment. We will talk some tight endage. That means Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, but it also means an early look at the Dolphins as Sunday's game fast approaches. Don't miss Claire's tight endage perspective, as well as her early look at the Dolphins, by keeping it right here on the Locked On Patriots podcast, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, our partners over at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Football host Vinny Iyer to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So let's see who Vinny has picked out for us on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. The fantastic running back for your New England Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson, had a tough time running in Week 1 against the Eagles and saved his fantasy value with 6 catches for 64 yards. Expect him to get going on the ground in Week 2 after doing little with his first 12 carries of the season. The Dolphins got gashed for 208 yards and 2 touchdowns by the Chargers. Stevenson's burst and quickness make it an even more favorable matchup against Miami's pass rush-oriented front. Folks, Vinny Iyer from Locked On Fantasy Football is going to help you win your fantasy championship. And eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. It's the same thing with your vehicle. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly with brake kits, LED headlights, roof rack, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebay.com/motors. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Patriots fans, thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage, and hopefully your first listen each and every day. And here today on Locked On Patriots to join me is truly one of our favorites, the midweek monarch here on Locked On Patriots, but most importantly, the Empress of tight endage, which, as I teased coming into this break, is definitely a subject we are going to enjoy talking about today. And if we're enjoying it, you know she's going to enjoy it as well. She is the Countess of Class herself, columnist extraordinaire coming from Pat's Propaganda, who also, by the way, folks, has their very own YouTube channel and broadcasting show now. Definitely be sure to check that out. And, of course, you never want to miss a single episode of Clare's podcast, A Clare Perspective, a Patriots podcast, available wherever you consume your podcasts. My good friend, ClazzyClare Cooper, joins me today. Countess, thank you so much for joining me today from across the pond.
Oh, thank you for having me and for that big intro and telling everybody where to get all my work. That was great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We always want to make our guests feel comfortable here, and we always want to show our appreciation. Clare, the Patriots now sit at 0-1 after a difficult 25-20 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. We all know that whether it be a win, whether it be a loss, there's always lessons to be taken from the field. One of the areas that I think this team vastly improved in is being able to move the football in Bill O'Brien's offense. We saw an increased level of confidence in Mac Jones, in the pass catchers, even in the offensive line, to be able to block and get these guys in position to succeed, especially in the red zone, which is an area where the Patriots had difficulty last year. One of the big reasons why is the emergence, or the rebirth, I should say, of the tight end position here in New England. We've talked about this so many times. We've talked about how Bill O'Brien's 12 personnel was going to come in and really give this tight endage group a shot in the arm that they needed, that they didn't have last year. Solid performance by Mike Gesicki. I think an outstanding performance by Hunter Henry. He even had Pharaoh Brown chipping in there as a run blocker and really doing some amazing things. But you see things us mere mortals do not see when it comes to tight endage. I know you were grinning from ear to ear, especially with that Hunter Henry grab that is still mind-boggling as to how he grabbed that. But I don't want to steal any more of your thunder than I already have, Countess. Your evaluation of the tight endage performance against the Eagles on Sunday, have at it.
Well, yeah, I need to kind of capitalize on what you have already said, because what you said was completely true. Gesicki was utilized, but not very much. I think one of the keys with that is I think this is a bit of a... I had high expectations. I know a lot of individuals, a lot of Patriots Nation, if you like, I think had some high expectations for Gesicki, and a lot of people didn't. And that's fair enough. I think it's a little bit in the middle at the moment, because I think maybe they're easing him in. He was used, he was in the game, and he rocked up some snaps. He only played 41% of the game, which was a comparison to Hunter Henry 79%. So Obviously, he wasn't used for more than half of the game. So I think it's going to be the easing in. He's coming off an injury, or he's coming back from injury, should I say. He's new to the team, whereas Hunter Henry obviously isn't new. So I'm sort of still holding out hope that we're going to see more from him. I'm still very kind of confident that it's going to be something's going to be there when it comes from Gesicki. And I really hope so, because as listeners of a Clare perspective do know, I have sandwich bets on these sorts of things with my assistant. So yeah, so I have a vested interest that's external from my tight endage love. But no, seriously, I think that we just need to be a little bit patient with that. And like you said, with the 12 personnel, I believe that there may be some increase in the productivity, increase in usage of that. But as you said, as you mentioned, Hunter Henry did really well. He really showed us those flashes of that Mac Jones, Hunter Henry binky thing that we saw prior to last year, that, you know, Hunter's first season with Mac Jones, before it kind of went a little bit awry last year, shall we say, and leave it at that. We saw a really good relationship develop between the quarterback and that tight end. And for me, obviously, it was beautiful to see. Hopefully for a lot of Patriots Nation, it was good to see as well. I think it's always pleasurable when you've got a tight end and a quarterback with a really good bond, with that kind of binkiness, because I think it seeps out in confidence as well. Because I know we look back at the Brady Gronk thing and you can't compare it to that, but it was a relationship that sort of, as I said, seeped out into the team that I think it just gave more confidence, more familiarity, that sort of thing into the team. So hopefully if Mac and Hunter can have a really good relationship, we can have that seeping out into the offense that sort of brings it up. Hopefully, we shall see. It is only week 1, as we all know. But yeah, great production from Hunter. Hoping that he just capitalizes on that more. And I believe that the integration of Gesicki will be more so going over the season. I think this is going to be a drip situation, as in we're going to see drips of it rather than a flow. I was expecting like a full flow of Gesicki, a full flood of him, but I think we're just going to see it as a drip situation going forward. But yeah, it's still blossoming, it's still growing, and it's only week 1, and it was quite an exciting, from a tight endage perspective, granted the whole loss, and like, as you said in your introduction, in regards to wanting to do it a moral victory or terrible, I'm very much in the middle. I think they lost and it was unfortunate, but there's also so much that we can be happy about from coming out of last season. I know that you could say, oh, well, that's easy to do. All you needed was an offensive coordinator, that kind of thing. But I think we're blaming it a lot on that. And I think there is more to the pie than that. So it's nice to see an offense that you look at that could be good. It wasn't great in that game against the Eagles, but it could be good. There was mistakes. We're still looking at, I know we're going away from tight endage, but looking at the offensive line, and you touched upon the rookies. There was 2 rookie guards in that offensive line, and Mac Jones was very verbal when he had his press conference. I think it was the after the game press conference, so it was a couple of days ago now, that he didn't feel pressure, that it was his responsibility and he took it on his shoulders. But I think he was taking a little bit of it for the team, really, because the O-line still has its niggles, and that's going to seep out into the situation, as you mentioned, that they use Farrell Brown for the run blocking. So when you've got the weak O-line, those sorts of things are going to transition outwards, and that's going to affect the tight endage usage, and it's going to affect the blocking, and it's going to affect, how they can be utilised when it comes to playmaking, when it comes to pass catching. So I think it's all still very integrated, still very connected, obviously. But just hopefully it's going to be something going forward. As I said, it's going to be blossoming and something more exciting for us. But yeah, I mean, I'm still on the high of that Hunter Henry one-handed catch. That's still very exciting for me. I've still got tingles, as we all know, hashtag tight endage tingles and things like that. So yeah, touchdown tingles was the other hashtag that we used from a Clare perspective a couple of weeks ago. So it's tingles all over the place when it comes to things like that. So I'm just, fingers crossed for more of that and for more of it.
Absolutely. And you know what? As many hashtags as we can possibly get trending around Clare, it's always good. You know the tight ends are performing at a high level, folks. tight endage tingles. I love that. Touchdown tingles. Let's keep it going. Drop your hashtags in the comments section below because we want as many of them as we possibly can. But no, I think you make some excellent points. First of all, before we get back into the tight ends, I'm so glad that you mentioned the rookies on the offensive line. And the offensive line's performance as a whole, because you look at the first few series for the New England Patriots, the pick six by Mac Jones, the fumble by Ezekiel Elliott, and then 3 straight 3-and-outs. Any type of team that is trying to find its identity could be so demoralized by something like that that they could very easily fold. This team didn't, and especially with 2 rookies making their pro-level debut against the most fearsome pass rush, one of the most fearsome defensive fronts in all of the NFL, they could have very easily felt that the moment was too big for them. They didn't. Mac Jones only faced 2 fourth-quarter sacks in this game, so in a way, yes, he was trying to deflect some of the blame and take it upon his shoulders. And Murph and I talked about this the other day about him being a good teammate by doing that. But at the same time, he's also correct in some of his assessment because that offensive line did provide him the protection that he needs. So I think that was an excellent point, and I'm so glad that you made it. But when it comes to tight endage, and I knew that when we started to see these tight ends performing well on the field, that this was going to be a great conversation this week. And so far, you brought it. You talked about Hunter Henry, his familiarity with the type of offense that Bill O'Brien runs, as opposed to what we saw last year from the Patricia Judge regime. Look, I don't think there's anybody questioning right now that Hunter Henry deserves to be an integral part of this offense, maybe even one of its top 2-3 focal points. And I think Bill O'Brien is going to properly utilize him. I think you saw that on Sunday. Elite pass catching talent, and he always has had that. One of the best route runners I've covered in the NFL. He runs clean routes, got great body control, and he can change direction when he needs to. And I think that's why you're seeing Hunter be voted as a captain. I can tell you from having covered him in Los Angeles that it's not for him being this vocal rah-rah type guy in the locker room. That's not his style. Although he says he is going to get a little more vocal, and I do believe him. I think he will. But at the same time, it's what he does on the field. It's leading by example. And one of the things that's really impressed me the most is watching Hunter evolve as a blocker, something that he does not get enough credit for. His detractors on social media, detractors, I think, is the proper word we'll use to describe the people that have something negative to say about Hunter. We'll be respectful today on Locked On Patriots. They're going to tell you that, you know, the questions on him always stem from his blocking ability. And that goes back to his days with the Chargers, back when I covered him with San Diego and then Los Angeles. That was the knock on him. It was, quote unquote, he is an average blocker at best. He's going to be a liability there as well. But I think his strength as a blocker has so much improved. He used to get pushed off his spot as a blocker an awful lot, and anyone that's played the position will tell you that's something that's not good for a tight end. But what I noticed on Sunday is that he's moving better. He's moving with more aggression, and he's generating more power as a result of that, so he's not getting easily pushed off. And because of that, his run blocking improved. Pro Football Focus graded him at a 51.3 on Sunday, which is not world-breaking, folks, but it is an improvement from what he had last year. His pass blocking showed improvement, too. He's 69.8 on that. So I think that's always been where he's traditionally better. But improvement in the run game is big. And to me, that's something that'll help him from the problems he had with being able to block against penetration years ago. That's been a huge, huge help to his game. So if he can add that dimension, you're looking at a complete tight end and a top-of-the-line tight end for this team, perhaps, in this season. And we haven't even gotten into the meat and potatoes on Mike Gesicki just yet, have we?
Well, that's it. That's why I wanted to kind of interject is when Hunter kind of rounds that out a lot more, it opens Gesicki up more then for what he's best at doing, because he's more of a receiver, I know people like to say. So with Hunter being able to develop those skills so that he's valuable not only kind of in the passing game, but in as a blocker in the running game and the passing game as a blocker as well, you then all of a sudden you've got Hunter and Gesicki on the field and you're not quite sure what Hunter's going to be doing because he's becoming even more and more capable. So then then you're looking at Gesicki and you're looking at Hunter and it's like, which one do you cover? And they're both quite, you know, we've seen that Hunter is a great end zone threat, and then it just needs Gesicki to sort of build up his momentum within the team, as I mentioned earlier. And I think that that has such an impact. Hunter's improvement has such an impact on the potential for Gesicki that it gets even more and more exciting.
It truly does. And look, Mike showed his ability to make catches in the open field. He had a couple of impressive grabs on Sunday. Definitely want to see more of him. And I got a funny feeling we may see more of him this weekend because he's facing a familiar opponent this weekend, a team that he knows pretty well. I think he spent some time down there with those guys wearing aquamarine in the Southern Hemisphere in the U.S. So we're going to get into those. Yeah. Well, he's going to be wearing throwback red on Sunday night. The Patriots bringing back the Pat Patriot and the throwback red. So, yeah, you got to love that. That's going to be exciting. Great looking uniforms. Personally, my favorite look for the New England Patriots. And I'm looking forward to seeing Pat Patriot painted back out on the Gillette Stadium field. Bottom line, Claire, I think what you said was absolutely correct. When it comes to Hunter Henry now being able to show an ability to do things just beyond being a pass catcher, opens things up so much for Mike Gesicki. And you also saw why the New England Patriots felt the need to add Pharaoh Brown onto this 53-man roster and be that third tight end. This is an extremely talented blocker, especially in the run game. An 89-point grade from Pro Football Focus this weekend. The highest graded Patriot from Pro Football Focus this weekend was Pharaoh Brown. And one of the big things about what he does so well. So this Patriots team, I think, is well-suited in their tight endage, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we hope it's going to translate into a lot of fun on the field this weekend. But, Claire, you and I both know that the Patriots face another tough task this weekend with the Miami Dolphins and a high-powered offense coming in. Going to be a fun one, but it's going to be a tough one in New England. What are Claire's thoughts on the Miami Dolphins? Do the Patriots have enough on both sides of the ball to keep this one close and to be able to shut down some of the high-powered, rapid weapons that Miami has at their disposal? Claire's going to give her initial thoughts on Miami and maybe even a little bit more when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. That's why Jase Medical offers the Jase Case. The Jase Case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use and gives you a peace of mind so that you are not just hoping that you have access to medication in an emergency. Jase Medical makes sure you have the medication in hand. Jase Medical is simple. They handle everything from the online evaluation to licensed pharmacy medication delivery and ongoing consultation and care. Don't get caught unprepared. Save more than $360 by getting these life-saving antibiotics with Jase Medical, plus an additional $20 off by using the code LOCKEDON at checkout on jasemedical.com. Don't delay, do it today. That's JASE medical.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Locked On listeners, football season is here, and there is no better time to use PrizePicks, the largest independently owned daily fantasy platform in North America. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. I can make my fantasy picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. It's why they're my favorites, and I know they're going to be yours too. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. So don't delay, do it today. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match up to $100 by going to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use the promo code LockedOnNFL. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Fans, thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Today, we are absorbing the wisdom and counsel, the tight-ended wisdom and counsel. That meter has already been broken by our guest today, the illustrious Clare, ClazzyClare Cooper of Pat's Propaganda and A Clare Perspective, the Patriots podcast. And Claire, it's always fun to talk tight endage with you. It is a subject that you absolutely dazzle us with. The New England Patriots face another tall task this week. As if the Philadelphia Eagles coming to town, defending NFC champions, wasn't difficult enough. The Patriots now face one of the most potentially explosive offenses in the NFL. This is a team that is well suited to be able to score in so many different ways. A wild win over the Los Angeles Chargers, 36-34 in week 1. Tua Tagovailoa showing a lot of versatility. Tyreek Hill is just absolutely incredible. When you look at this team, when you look at the Miami Dolphins and the performance that they put out on Sunday, and you look at what the Patriots did on Sunday, what are your initial thoughts on Miami? Have at it. The floor is yours. What are your gut reactions telling you as we head into this matchup on Sunday?
Well, I know we can't swear on this show because it's a family show, so I can't actually tell you the words that are going round in my head at the moment because we're keeping it clean. But I am still being positive that the Patriots can squeak out a win. I know everybody's looking at me like, oh, she's crazy, she's crazy. However, I have some points in my bag as to why. They're very small, but I still have some. The one thing that I found interesting, shall we say, that I'm sure people will have picked up on in the Dolphins Chargers game was the center quarterback exchange. And there's definitely a weakness there. I believe there was 3 fumbles, and those sorts of little things can seep out and take away the confidence that someone is going to have. So I think that there is something there to be had when it comes to the defense to put the scares in them, because it crumbles. I mean, I'm gonna have to check my notes so that I get it right. There was an early in the first quarter, Miami were less than 20 yards from the end zone, fumble, and then it was recovered by LA. Now, things like that in the NFL, they happen. The problem is you look at it, and when you've got a really pristine team, they need to not happen, because it can make or break a game. And as I mentioned just a moment ago, it can make or break confidence. And that's all we need to do. We need to scare Tua into losing his confidence, because, yes, we know he's a good pass thrower. We've seen it. The one thing that's key with Miami, as you mentioned, is the weapons. And the whole Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill thing is the thing that scares me the most. That part of their offense is so good. And I just hope that the Patriots can mix up some potions when it comes to their defense, because the Patriots defense is a darn good defense. Just hoping that they can mix something up, that they can put something out there on the field, that work some magic as to how to shut these 2 weapons down. I don't know how well it can be done, but we shall see. I believe that Belichick, with his defensive mind, can mix something up. Now, I know that Patriots Nation will be sitting there saying, well, why has he already done it? And I don't have the answer for you. I am with you with that question. Why has he not already done it? Because there was a great stat that came out from, I believe it was Evan Lazar on social media this morning. He put out how the NFL's best passer against a single high coverage in 2022. I apologize, I have to read from my notes, but my memory's so bad that you know that I'll bumble this. And the Patriots defense was second most snaps in single high coverage. 72% of the coverage of snaps versus Philly was single high. So you look at that and say, well, if the Patriots run that defense or run those plays defensively, it's obvious that it's against the Dolphins. It's not necessarily going to work. And you would think Bill Belichick is going to be very aware and au fait with this information. Let's hope so. It may take him, it may be that this is the year that he sorts himself out and beats Tagovailoa. I have my fingers crossed. I do have faith that that can happen, folks. And I know a lot of people do think I'm crazy, and that's okay, because I am a little bit crazy. But yes, I hate the Finns. So that does always colour my judgment a little bit when it comes to things like that. But I do try and be as objective and analytical as possible. But I am still a Patriots fan, so I've always got that in my corner. Can the Patriots beat them? As I said, I'm still saying yes. So I'm still looking at the offensive weapons with concern. I mean, even their tight end Smythe, even as for a tight end, he looks good. They've already got Waddle and they've already got Hill, but they've got a decent tight end as well. Although he didn't have particularly many targets, he had 6 targets and 3 receptions in the LA game for 44 yards, and it's quite low when it comes to production, but for a tight end in an offense that's got the weapons that it has got, that's quite considerable. So I think the defense is going to have to be on its very best behavior to be able to shut down Miami. And the offense just needs to click that bit more. And hopefully being a home game, that helps it out. Whether or not it does, we shall see. But I've still got faith. I've still got faith and confidence that the Patriots defense can do the whole the old school boogeymen thing that I know a lot of people probably don't want bringing back, and that's fine. We should come up with something better. But with the 2 red zone turnovers by Miami and things like that, I think there's loopholes there for the Patriots defense to exploit to enable them to succeed against this great Miami offense.
Yeah, without question. I think you hit the nail right on the head. What the Patriots need to do is to try to keep that offense off the field as much as possible. Yeah. And that means a heavy dose on the ground. Keep grinding out those first downs. And that's where you see guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Ezekiel Elliott, and Ty Montgomery. Look for him to take a more active role this week as well. I think the Patriots have an opportunity to be able to do that. Claire, once again, you always bring the wisdom, the counsel, the way only you can, and we appreciate you stopping by here and spending time with us on Locked On Patriots, especially on the midweek part of the show. After all, there is only one midweek monarch here on Locked On Patriots, and we are thrilled to have her each and every week. So, Claire, before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can find you, where they can absorb your great work, and what you have coming in the next week or so from the great pen, the great voice of Clare ClazzyClare Cooper.
Well, thank you. As you said in the introduction, I have a new show, or we have a new show. I have a joint show now on the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. So it's the first Pat's Propaganda YouTube show. So our pilot hit the airwaves on Monday following the Eagles game. It's kind of a post-game recap wrap-up. It is to replace at this moment my written column, my written article that I would do after each Patriots game for Pat's Propaganda as my game recap wrap-up for people to read. So we're bringing you this kind of audio-visual feast of fun. Pat's procrastination, as I said, on the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. So I hope people have been enjoying that. I know, as I said, it's been out since Monday. A Clare Perspective, now it's the regular season, brought to you by Full Press Coverage, is going to be out every 1 to 2 weeks. It does depend on workloads and things for myself and games and game times and stuff like that. So please keep your eyes out for A Clare Perspective on the Full Press Coverage. And as you mentioned, most of those places that you find your podcasts. So yeah, definitely some podcasty, YouTubey stuff out there. And just before I go, I do want to say, firstly, thank you to everybody who has been supportive of the YouTube show, as it did only launch on Monday, as we record this on Wednesday. We've had some great feedback, and we've been really, really lucky to have such positivity. So we really appreciate everyone that has watched and that has reached out to say that they like the show, that kind of thing. So I hope you still enjoyed the show and you will stick with us for the whole season, because we will be bringing you on each week following a Patriots game. So I hope that you continue to enjoy that on the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. And I just need to say a quick shout out, because as we record this on Wednesday the 13th of September, it is John, who is a fan of this show and of A Clare Perspective as well. It's his son's birthday. So happy birthday to Lewis for today.
Absolutely. Lewis, happy birthday. A tip of the cap and a nod to the guys from all of us here at Locked On Patriots. And Claire, thank you for dropping that in. We do appreciate John's support and all of your support out there from all of you everydayers, all of you casual listeners, and all of you first-timers as well. We hope you've enjoyed all of the wisdom and counsel you've heard today from Claire and a little bit from myself as well. Folks, please continue to stay safe, stay well, and be the change you wish to see in the world. Do not forget to smash that subscribe button, download, subscribe to, and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts. On behalf of the illustrious Clare ClazzyClare Cooper, I'm Mike Debate. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.